Hi guys, how are you? Lewis,
Hey,
it's
stranger.
it's been like 2 days. What's going on? How was your road trip?
It was productive. We found a car, like the first car that we found. I had to get a car for my daughter, so uh,
What'd you
it-
get?
a Kia Soul 2018 with 41,000 miles.
Okay, that's a
And
good one.
what's that?
That's a good one.
It was a good one. It was the first one, and we didn't have to like have it transferred from some other CarMax. It was just right there, and
Amazing.
yeah, and so uh no, these are the sort of things that happen to me. Um, right? It fell into place.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's good to be back. And I actually canceled a trip for next week. I was going to be covering the trailing of the sheep in Sun Valley. And I thought, I can't afford to be gone for 6 days. And it just, you know, a sensory overload, right?
Got it.
So, but I'm scheduling one-to-ones. Things are happening. I know you met with Renee.
I did.
So what did you gonna fill me in?
I will, but I'm gonna fill you in after the work hours because I don't want to, or the office hours because I don't want to put
No, I get it.
all of your stuff on blast on a recorded Zoom that goes out to everybody. But yes, um, no, it was a really good meeting. I think he was a little confused because I think he wanted the work a little bit. And I was like, dude, you're fine. I'm sure he's gonna go to you for a million other things. I'm just helping with some messaging and some packaging. So you're fine. So it went well. And then I already have the content and everything's ready to go. So we're working on it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. It was quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now, didn't you need some input from me or
Yep. But I just have to give you the rough draft so that you can poke holes all in it.
well, that's scary.
No, not too scary. It'll be good. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun process because that way, we have the creative and we can say, okay, this is what we would recommend and take a look at the packages because we see what you have. And this part we can discuss on here because I think it's really important to make sure that the packages that you're offering are in line with the rates, the daily rates, what can close, what you're actually offering, making sure the language is the right thing to do. So I think that is absolutely worthwhile to discuss on this, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. And I have some thoughts because I've been doing some one-to-ones and going to chamber meetings and realizing I was getting a little bit too much into the features versus the benefits.
Yep.
And it's like nobody cares, like cloud computing, whatever.
Mhm.
We're like the full service shop. And it just happens that, we get rid of your on-prem servers and we virtualize everything, but that's not the story.
No, it's not. I love that you just said that. Okay, so tell me what the story is then.
No, the story is that, we're your full service IT. We take that burden off your shoulders. And I mean, we do it by putting things into the cloud so that you can have whatever you need wherever you go on whichever device you choose. But we're like a warm blanket.
Yeah, you provide the security and the accessibility for your entire environment.
Yeah, because I mean, right now it's kind of novel to put things in the cloud, but again, that's not the point. the point is that we're almost like an interior designer for your computing environment, right? We make you a comfortable space for your people to work.
Mhm.
And I actually met, yesterday at the chamber meeting, there was somebody from company called OEC, I think. They're like, they create the physical environments for businesses, in the space that I'm looking to play in.
Okay. That's a
And
nice partnership, isn't it?
no, it really is.
So
And
that would be a great affiliate relationship to work through. Are they having a meeting with you, or are you having a meeting with them to discuss how to send business their way and they can do the same?
on Tuesday,
Perfect.
yeah. Um, and we even have rhyming dog names,
Got it.
right? Our
Only you, I swear.
what? No, I didn't know. It's like somehow she's doing a little bit of stalking, and she says, "Oh, I see you might have a dog named Zuki, and our dog is named Suki."
Oh, that's cute.
Right?
So go a little further then, because you have that personality where people just gravitate to you, which is amazing. How are you going to use it from an affiliate relationship standpoint? Because that's one thing that a lot of people don't define. They don't define a good, solid affiliate relationship out there and a referral network, and they don't know how they're going to pay people. And it's very ad hoc. It's like, oh yeah, okay, well, if you send something my way, I'll, pay you a little something here. I'll do this. Do you have anything that's already kind of fleshed out from previous life?
Yeah, so what I've been offering my guys, and I say that I have this available to everybody else, is if you bring me somebody who signs on for a year or 3 years,
Mhm.
You will get a 1 month, basically of MRR
Yeah, as a thank you. That's a big thank you.
right. But
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Well, and that's essentially what a lot of people are paying their inside reps as well. So it's not unheard of to do that. So when you do that, is that in writing, or is that just a handshake?
Right now it's a handshake, but I got Scott and Scott,
Mhm.
with the contracts as a service. So I want to put it in writing.
Yeah, I think putting that in writing would be really good, and then having a signature, because people take it more seriously and they can track their referrals in. A lot of people will make a living based on referrals. A lot of people like to connect people. A lot of people like to have that as what they do. So if there's a way for them to make a living doing that, that's great.
So that if you don't think it's overly generous, I mean, that's where I'm leaning.
I think there's levels to it. If it's just an introduction,
Mhm.
I don't think you have to give that much. I think giving something is fair.
Right.
But if they work the deal, if they act as your sort of liaison, or they're really delivering you the meeting and they're setting it up and they're the ones that are facilitating, they don't necessarily have to put everything together. They don't have to, at some point there's a handoff, right?
Right.
But if they are facilitating that call, absolutely. Like I have one outside rep for us who, instead of doing deals, it's more strategic alliances, right? So when she brings in a strategic alliance person, and that could turn into regular income, I just give her 2% of whatever's going to come in for the first month. And at least that way it's something, right? Because she's just sort of facilitating that introduction. But if she actually works it, then yeah, she's going to get 5-10%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think something in writing, that way it's more serious all around, right?
Well, it's more serious all around, but also you can build an incredible referral network and an incredible affiliate network. So it ends up being that you've got 10 people selling for you because they have signed it, and it's essentially like signing an offer letter, right? Like, oh, I'm
Right.
going to get this. It's guaranteed, you know, as opposed to just a handshake of, yeah, I'll make you whole. People tend to do business with the people that they trust. And if you're giving them a reason to trust you, 100%.
Could it be on my website?
It could be on your website. Absolutely.
Well, I know it could be, but should it be?
Yes and no. The reason why I'm saying yes and no is I wouldn't put that front and center. I think maybe having a landing page that is on a subdomain of your website would be an easy website, like a link, like, hey, want to work
Right.
with us, want to have business to refer over. Here's our affiliate program. Here's our referral program, whatever it's going to be. They can fill out
Right.
a form. If they're interested, fill out the form, have a little bit of a descriptor, and then it's an email, that automated email. Now that you're using a CRM, you could activate that. It's just a trigger, right? So you create a form and they input the information. As soon as that form is submitted, it triggers an automatic email to go to them with that legal document that they just have to sign.
I like it. Okay,
Yeah.
I want somebody to do that.
Okay. Okay.
No, it's if it's up to me, it doesn't get done. I mean, these are the kind of things that it's like, yeah, it's easy, right? Just do this, just do that. It's like, I'm like being pulled
Yeah.
directions.
Well, and that's the thing, right? We have to prioritize. So again, I'm going to circle it back to the original conversation of let's talk about your packages and how
Yep.
you are, you know, coming out to the public where you are now, because you're shifting gears. So to see that Soho package, which I love the name, I think it's great, but
Right.
that's not where you are anymore.
No, it isn't.
It's not the same town, it's not the same vibe, it's not the same anything. So you have to speak not only to the people around you, but you have to resonate with them, and you need to explain to them why you are that comfortable space to work in, why you are you know, like that warm blanket, and you provide security and accessibility, right? So I'm checking my notes so I can figure that out, right? So so if you can say that and we can define those packages, that makes more sense. I do like the fact that you've got a light, a middle, and a more intense, right? And then you can do some ad hoc, sorry, you can do some a la carte options, and you can do a little bit more customization. So if they want more security, okay, that's fine. You can go basic, middle, or high, but then let's talk about your security offerings with those, right? So explain to me how that works with the way you work. Do they have to be at a certain level for you to do a la carte options or add-ons?
I mean, everything's on the table right now. I like the the Steve Jobs returning to Apple model, where he went in and he got rid of pretty much everything, right? It was there were too many choices, and so I'm having to figure out what that looks like in my context. I want to keep it simple. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but again, bless you. I mean, I'm kind of starting at square one, so I could do anything. And when I'm out in the world now, I let people know I'm focused on businesses with 10 to 100 employees doing 5 to 50 million. And and I say it because it's not really cost effective when you got less than 10 employees, right? Because we're starting at about 300 a month per user,
right?
And that's all in.
And that's all in. So when you say 300 a month per user, let's drill down there. What does 300 a month per user get you?
So that gets you the kind of the basic office, virtual server and storage and virtual desktops. You know, I guess it's now called Entra as opposed to Azure.
Mhm.
And it's like entry level Entra.
Okay. And is there a cap on the data? If it gives you basic storage, how much data does that bring you, or does that give you?
Well, that's what I got to get with my nerdio Azure guy
Mhm.
on that. It's I'm taking a stab in the dark, but it's probably like 500 gigs.
Okay, so there's a cap. Got it. So
Yeah.
it gives you per user basic Office virtual setup, gives you your thin clients for however many users. It gives you X amount of data per user, or is
Yeah.
it all in one?
It's
Per user?
so it's pooled,
Mhm.
right? So it's, you know, we have to look at the whole picture.
Yep.
And that's where, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I get it that Microsoft prices this stuff to where you need a degree in rocket science just to price it.
Yeah, the calculations are super fun.
Yeah, right. And you know, as you can imagine, this is my strong suit. You know, doing those calculations, but no, this is why I've got Jim, you know, who's been doing this for several years, and so he's my Azure Nerdio consultant.
Sure.
And so the $300 figure, that kind of comes from my conversations with Jim, sort of like the lowest common denominator for kind of a typical office, you know, that's not doing AutoCAD and SolidWorks and, you know, graphic intensive work. Because that's, you know, when you get into that, price goes up quite a bit.
Right.
So it's just a number that, you know, we kind of throw out there. So but at least, I mean, it tells me, so that also includes like the RMM, it includes backups, anti-phishing, you know, all the wonderful Kaseya stuff.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. So it is your access, it's your security, it's your data redundancy, it's all of that. What
Yes.
does it come with phones or no?
No, phones would, what was after phones?
Connectivity, conferencing, phones, things of that nature, no?
No, so that could be like the primo level would have the phones.
Okay.
And then
and what's the cost on that per seat-ish?
I would imagine, and you know, because I've avoided phones. I mean, I shouldn't, but
It's not one way or another. If you have to outsource, or if you have a guy, or you can make a referral, the only thing I'm great with making referrals, and I'm great with leveraging. The only thing that I would say is, if you have to do that because you don't supply it, make sure you own that relationship, because what ends up happening is, if you have a guy that does it and they also are an MSP, human nature, not everybody is going to be as accommodating as, say, this group, right? So just make sure that you are in control of those relationships.
Well, we can do, you know, I've got PAX 8, so there's no reason I can't do phones. I think I just need to bone up on it, and or have somebody on my team that will take it on, right? Because we could do phones. I imagine the phones are probably 25 to 50 bucks a month per user.
So they are not on your primo package already, or they are? I was just throwing that out as an example.
Oh, No, I've been kind of avoiding phones. It's just because I guess I'm easily overwhelmed.
Mhm.
So it's like one more thing to think about. It's like, oh my God, the phones.
Right.
But because again, the old me is thinking, oh, I gotta program these phones and I gotta do their phone tree and the call forwarding and the voicemail. And I don't want to do that, but I don't have to do that.
Okay. So, okay. So let me take a step back, because I think my main question might be getting missed. My main question is, I want to go through your packages and see what the differences are from light to high.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I want.
Got it. And I don't necessarily know. Is that, this is something that I'm hoping you can help me clarify.
Mhm.
Like, what should the packages be? Because it's an open, I got a blank slate. I can do anything.
Got it. So talk to me about the prices and the packages that you had formerly, and then let's talk about what you can do moving forward.
Okay.
I got to start somewhere. It's a lot easier for me to make up a doll that is at least built than create one from scratch. I can give you industry standards, right? Like right now, you're $300 per user. That to me, if it's just the basic stuff, that sounds high. Now, if
Okay.
it's something that makes it special, okay, tell me what it is. But right now, industry standard is anywhere between, say, 178 and 275. So you've got like $100 there, but 300 at a base is potentially really good for California prices. But even then, like Steve, he's in California. He's not charging $300 for the very, very basics, because he wouldn't get the numbers that he gets, and he gets more rabbits than he gets deer and bear. So he gets a lot of those little guys. So he wouldn't be charging that. I'm not saying you shouldn't charge that, but we need to make sure that that package is worth it, right? Or at least that we can build value, because what we need to do is we need to understand what your packages are. And then what we need to do is build the value around that, so that if you want $300 minimum, okay, that's fine. Let's figure out what that package is though.
Right. And I mean, a big part of it is the cost of the cloud environment.
Yep.
The Azure desktops. And I'm going by Jim's guidance on that. He's talking like 275. And I round up. So
Okay.
it could be 275, but
So right where I said like the industry standard is getting to the 275, if we're going cloud, I'm pretty much in line. So that makes me feel a little bit better that at least your guru's going along with where my industry averages are. But if you want 300, where's the value? What makes yours different than the other cloud guy down the street?
No, I mean, it could be 275. I'm just rounding up. That's to me, the jump from 275 to 300 is
Nominal.
I mean, it's nominal. It can, if I get a lot more bytes at 275, great.
So talk to me about your next package up. What's the price point and how do you differentiate?
Well, the one for 275 is basically the all-in, right? You got your virtual, you got, the security, you got RMM, you have backups, right? The help desk, and I mean, I guess that sort of all-in package is also the basic, right? Like I don't want to do a non-virtual, right?
Okay.
So So this is so let's say this is the base, right? And I'm thinking as I go here. So you mentioned the phones. So phones would be an add-in. Microsoft licenses, well, that is not included in the 275.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's an add-in. Compliance, which I have no idea how to fulfill, but
So I can put you for compliance. We have 2 clients that we could put you in compliance or in touch with for 2 things. One, we actually have inside this group.
mhm,
I already said you need to connect with Angela and Pam and Sierra, because they can get people prepped and make that plan for compliance. And
okay,
then from a technically you could just go with them and then they could supply the right people to help you fulfill. So that would probably be the cleanest way to do it. So I think from a compliance standpoint, for all the compliances, you could do that, or you could talk to Nima, you know him, and he's got an entire compliance suite. So what I would do is probably go for the planning and then farm it out to Nima.
okay. Now what about Franz?
Franz is phenomenal. I adore Franz, but he is he's like an answer to Blackpoint Cyber. It's a service and a software offering, not a babysitting and actually like delivering from an MSP standpoint. He has an MSP and he would be able to fulfill. So he may be able to tag team. And guys, if you're listening in or tuning in, we're talking about people that are inside our network in our group, and they all have capabilities that Lewis could expand on and expand his services by doing referral networks and affiliations. So to me, that would be a sort of what I'm envisioning for you right now, because you are switching over to cloud services only. And this is something that we're also doing with another client of ours that is only focused on cloud, doing some sort of like a cloud readiness assessment, making sure that that's, they're ready for that sort of transition and the investment, because it is more secure and it's easier to control. Now, that's a very different conversation than what was happening 3 years ago, because people were like, ooh, cloud, right? Like where is this cloud? Now you've got way more control. What I am envisioning for you is, because I know you're very visual, and so I'm thinking in terms of, you've got your core competencies, you've got your core suite, and you've got additional add-on suites that are almost like, those shields that you see from a compliance standpoint. You see like the core competency for NIST and then all of the stuff that they have to supply, and it creates that shield.
Right.
It would be similar, but you wouldn't have a shield, right? So you would have that core competency offering. So you don't need all of the tiers. The tier is the tier, right? This is the cost to get your services to get spun up. But then you have an offshoot of connectivity. You want the connectivity suite? Great. It's this. You want the compliance suite because you have to pass your audit and you're a bank? Great. It's this add-on. And you've got your options under that, whether they need, conference rooms or just basic connectivity, or maybe they just need Ring Central inside of their CRM, any of that stuff. Zoom, right? You as a cloud provider, you're managing their Zoom. You're the one that's literally able to give them a report saying, this is how many minutes you spent on Zoom last month, and here's why I kept you afloat. This right here, this is how I kept you in business last month. That's great, right? Being able to say that. You've got these different suites of services that you could offer. So let's go a step further, right? We've got connectivity, we've got your operating system and all of the add-ons that is that. So you've got your compliance. Keep going. From a cloud perspective, what can you offer?
Does it make sense for me to team up with a company like Intelligent Office that does these shared workspaces, where mobile workers and remote workers can camp out, right? Or rent conference space. Right. It seems to me
I think
that
you would prospect with them, not necessarily team up with them. If they choose you as their internal provider, you would have a lovely referral network there,
okay.
potentially even being their in-house, right? Because they have a physical location, but you're still offering the cloud solution so that their people are not going to be paying them. They're going to be paying you directly.
Yeah.
Or now one place down here in West Palm, Venture X, they did a very, very similar thing with an MSP. And he has an office in the Venture X building. And he provides IT services to everybody that comes in. Now he gets a great deal on his office, but they pay the in-house place directly. It could work for you to do it that way. I think it limits him because he has to physically be there all the time.
Right.
And there's only so many offices, right? And you also just said that your base is 10 to 100 employees or else it's not worth it. So if you have a shared office space and you've got even those offices that house 4 to 5 people, that's still not quite where you want to be unless you are there in-house and they all are on the same network. And now you have 50 people. Okay, that's fine. But each one of those little offices is probably going to have their own set of compliances, their own audits that they have to do, their own sort of flavors that you're going to have to navigate. And so it could be very beneficial for you getting started in the area. I don't see that being long-term unless you have somebody that can handle the smaller guys and take the time that those smaller guys are going to take from you, because you know that those small guys are going to take more attention.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking more in terms of if people are using those spaces because they're part of a big company and the big company would be my client and but
so that would be a referral arrangement. And you could potentially play that up. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying you have to be real careful that you don't get sucked into just being the guy at that location.
Right. Now that makes sense.
Again, similar to what Steven's facing with that one deal that we were talking about last week, where it was, a corporate decision on all of these dental offices. They went with this one provider, and he's really realizing that this one provider really doesn't have it all together, and he doesn't want to get displaced. So now he needs to have some sort of an affiliate relationship with this one provider so that he can make her look good and she can leverage his services. So, it's not unheard of to do it. You just have to be very careful that you don't get taken advantage of.
I get it.
I never want to play small. Like the way I would look at it is you don't want to get caught playing small. Play big. So if you're going to be doing that, you say, I can offer you this, but because it's only 5 people, the rates may be a little bit higher because I have to give you the same amount of attention that I would have to do on a 10 person to 100 person. You could have that conversation. And they'll probably say thanks, but no thanks, and that's fine.
No, that's fine. I'm totally good with it. I'm in a completely different place now where I feel comfortable, practically in the elevator speech saying I work with companies with 10 or more employees.
Perfect.
And this is just what I'm doing now. So why
don't bend.
Yeah.
Perfect. So go a step further. We've got like 2 or 3 more suites of add-ons that you could offer.
Okay. So
don't reach, do stuff that you're already doing, you're already having the conversations. And yes, you could offer 1.5 million different things, but that's extra. That's outside of the suite of
Yeah.
the conversation, the messaging.
I mean, right now I keep it real simple because I still have, I've got these hybrid arrangements that I'm trying to get rid of,
Like,
right?
oh yeah. You told me about those. Just because this is being recorded and other people are going to be listening, explain what that means for them so that they understand what you're talking about with a hybrid.
So with the hybrid, they still have access to, you know, backup, cybersecurity, anti-phishing, you know, the RMM tools, all of that. But help desk is not included.
Got it.
So, I mean, those can be lucrative, but
So you're
unpredictable.
talking more like co-managed?
It's kind of like co-managed where it's more like mismanaged, to be truthful. Because, you know, these are the clients like the Simple Bills of the world where they, you know, they don't really care that, you know, you spent 40 hours there this month. You know, but it could be 40 hours this month and 0 hours next month. And it's just wildly unpredictable. Some people want that, but over time, I've been going back to some of those hybrid clients and saying, we're not doing the hybrid plan anymore.
Right.
And I actually had one deal this last year, a veterinary hospital. And, you know, there are MSPs with a national footprint that are aggressively going at, like, their only clients are veterinary hospitals. And they underbid me by about $1,000 a month.
Wow.
And my client was kind enough to share with me what they were offering. And I said, well, they're not including this, they're not including that. And I got misgivings because this is, you really do need this, right? And we went back and forth a couple times, and they hired me.
Nice.
Yeah. So, you know, I had to work for it.
Right. And that's part of getting really good at strategic business reviews and QBRs and why they need the tools that they're using and what you did to catch things and how you walked into things and how you walked them through, you know, the dangers and trepidations that they may have had that they didn't even know they had. So
Yeah.
it's all part of that. But if we were, okay, so looking away from co-managed and looking away from that sort of hybrid model or the mismanaged model, we have, and it's fine if you only have 3, by the way. I'm just saying I'd like to have 2 more, but it's not necessary because you do have additional a la carte options. We just need to drill down. So are you comfortable with the base offering of connectivity, of management, of help desk, and then a connectivity suite, an operating system suite, and a compliance suite, or would you like to add more? Or do you think, or do you think that's your cornerstone? That's your wheelhouse. That's what you can get the most money on.
I don't know what I don't know. That's the problem.
You
right?
know a lot. When it comes to the technical like needs of a company, let's back it out, right? Anything that can be managed on a cloud environment, in a cloud environment. You've got your backup and disaster recovery, you handle that. You've got your operating system, you handle that. You've got your VMs, you've got your servers, you've got your hosted components, you've got your redundancy, you've got your phishing, you've got your vulnerability scanning, you've got all of that taken care of. You've got your connections, so you've got your conferences, you've got your phones, you've got all of that interconnectivity, you've got your compliance planning as well as mapping, and then you can use things like the tools that are out there to monitor and to detect and to deter, and you could do that sort of offering inside of the security and compliance suite. So the only other thing that I'm seeing is potentially billing. And if you don't want to touch that, don't touch it, right? You could do, depending on who your clients are, you've got what other services can you host in a cloud?
I mean, that's a good question. I had a one-to-one with an HVAC guy last week, and his company, they got 70 employees, and they're using a system whose name I should have written down, but I didn't. And so basically their whole operation is in the cloud because they're using this web-based application, and that's all they need.
Yep.
Okay. So it threw an interesting wrench in my works, right? Because how much of what anybody does in business these days could actually just be replaced by having, that kind of system,
Yep.
and now, yeah, we don't care about, having Azure logins and storage and whatnot, because we can do whatever we want. We don't deal with files, right?
So may I make a suggestion?
Yes.
So instead of funneling it down, because that you can manage other applications, and you have the resources to where you could manage these. I mean, you've already been paying California rates, so I know that the taxes are like anywhere between 50 to 30% or 30 to 50% just on services alone in certain areas. So now removing yourself off of that, you can preserve your margin, and you already have the connections with NOC and Field Nation and whoever else you're using for on-site, but you also have your leveraged relationships with Kaseya, I believe, that you've already invested in, where you could do customized application management, and that could be a suite on its own of if you have customized applications and you need customized application management or customized system and application management, we can have that discussion. It will be an additional quote. We will have to get down to the bottom of it, of all what you need. And then we can build out a customized bespoke plan. But either way, you're still coming in at that base rate.
Yeah.
And then add on these suites of service. What do you think?
Makes me a little bit nervous to be managing, these other applications that I know nothing about.
Then don't do it. If it makes you nervous, then don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all about making you feel uncomfortable and stretching you from a sales and revenue producing standpoint. But if you get to a point where you can't deliver on what you close, that's not what we want to do. So if you're having those conversations with people saying, I want to get into this, and I know how I can leverage my resources to manage them appropriately and properly, I'm all about it. Let's close business. But if you're not to that point yet and you don't know how you would deliver, then we're going to reel that back in, and it'll be back to the conversation that we had a couple months ago.
Yeah. And I guess I'm just not sure what it would mean, to offer that service. Like maybe I'm making it to be a monster that isn't.
You might be.
Yeah. Because
there's always going to be certain things that you have to work through, right? You're gonna have that senior systems engineer that goes in, that is a true engineer or dev person that goes in and maps how it all works and learns the product, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to have a cost associated to it. Someone's got to have to learn it. Then you've got Or if you don't have somebody learning it, you find somebody that is the expert in that system or application, because you may find a niche, right? You may have all the veterinarians or all of the HVAC guys, because all of them use this one thing that you're really good at. So there's ways to play up the revenue if you can make a plan. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to commit to something and then get paralysis by analysis because you don't know what it takes. So all I'm going to ask you is look at the elephant and then take little bite-sized chunks out of it to deconstruct what it takes to deliver on this. And it may not be that you're delivering everything. It might be that you're delivering uptime, downtime reports, redundancy, backup and disaster recovery. It all goes back to what you're originally doing. You just got to figure out what you can do for backing up SaaS applications, which, by the way, one of my clients, this is just a fun little, as the world turns, but one of our clients, Asigra, which is an IT vendor, they are a backup and disaster recovery tool. They have a SaaS application backup.
Yeah.
So it goes on any SaaS product. So that's not just your O365 and your G Suite and your Salesforce like all the other ones do. It is all of it. So that might be sort of your first step to saying, okay, what does it take to manage these applications? Well, we got to back it up. So that's going to cost this. And we have to host it. That's going to cost this. It's all in the cloud. That's great. So that's going to cost this. Then we have to figure out how to manage uptime, downtime, or see what it takes to do, login information, or they're going to need LastPass, or they're going to need Passly, or whatever their single sign-on is going to be. Which, by the way, is that in your core offering?
It's not, but I know it should be.
For MFA?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No, it's got to, because again,
it's standard at this point. You have to have it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, but understanding that everything on that one SaaS application that everybody uses, yes, it's bespoke. Yes, it's a little customized. So you got to figure out, okay, how much customization, A, am I willing to do, but B, do I want to do? Okay, got it. Now I figured that out. Now what the cost is associated to that for my time, my resources, and leveraging who I already have. And then knowing that everything you're doing from that core perspective, it's basically going to cost you at least the same amount as a user would. But it's an offering that you could add. So you get back to me on that. I'm going to let you think about it because I know that was a lot to think about.
No, it is, but why not? Why not? Right?
Yeah,
because
you also take more risks than a lot of people on these calls. So it's, really think about it and then, get back to me.
It's not like it's not coming out of my pocket if people are doing these things.
That is true.
So, here's how I think, and I know you get me. So, I'm the above and beyond full service guy, right? And my job as I see it is to anticipate, what the problem areas are and to provide the Cadillac solution, right? I had one of my, Simple Bill's old partner called me this morning and he said, I think of you when I refer business to you, I think of you as the Cadillac IT guy, and he meant all the positives.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, where are things headed, right? We're not yet at the point where everybody's in the cloud, but we're going to be. And so I'm going to help you get there. And, so you as a business need to have a certain level of success, to make it work. And okay, but above and beyond that, well, there's the compliance, there's this, there's that. So, I mean, if it makes sense, if it's if as the full service, future thinking guy that I am, means we offer these things and we offer it.
Yep. And I think that's probably the decision you would make. I just still want you to think about it, because that means you're going to have to take that into consideration when establishing your pricing. Because I can't do the pricing for you. I can guide you. But you're the one that's going to be having those conversations. You're going to be seeing it on the streets. You're going to be the one that's negotiating, and you're going to have to, and to that point, specifically for your case and for anybody else that is going down a path of restructuring your offerings, because what was happening wasn't working, right? And it wasn't because you weren't making sales, it was because you are the go above and beyond guy, and you were starting to take a loss because you would go above and beyond. And I understand that. So that's why the restructuring is not only necessary, it's welcome. So if you're going to be doing that, you're going to need to take a couple hits probably, because as you establish yourself, and this is something that another one of our clients, I was just on a call with him, and we were closing for end of quarter, and we're getting into the decision making of one really large client, right? And we're willing to take less on something, which means he's going to make a lot less margin, but this is a really influential organization. It's going to get them in, and it's going to be a little bit stickier, right? So maybe we'll do take a bath on that base. We'll discount that a little bit, not to where it's a detriment you're coming out of pocket for Azure, but just so you can learn a little bit on that customized application and system management, so that you can see, is this worth it? Is it not? Let's get our education, let's get some on-the-job training, and let's get paid for it. So take that, if that's the direction you want to go in, make sure that you are hitting your differentials, but you're getting paid to do it at least somewhere. So just a balance.
No, I get it. I also feel like I need to have a conversation with my Azure Nerdio guy, because he's an MSP and he's super savvy. And I feel like I could probably go to him and say, hey, what should my service levels be, right? What should my packages be?
But remember, we're not doing necessarily packages. We're doing a package, a base package, and then suites of service, because you are all cloud. And so that, I think, is going to be your differentiator of not necessarily doing different package levels. It's, hey, this is it. If you want more, or if you want faster RTO and RPO, if you want faster response time, if you need 24-hour knock, okay, that's an extra, but you still hit your base.
I like that a lot. Yep.
I think that's probably going to be the cleanest way for you, as opposed to doing the 3-tier model, which the 3-tier model is great, by the way. I really like it. I think it's, a lot of people have gotten a lot of success out of it, but based on the fact that you do customize so much, you do go above and beyond. What I don't want you to do is, I don't want you to be like, okay, so we need the light package on this, and I don't want you to get taken advantage of for your time. So I would still recommend that you go in at that level, so that your cost is always taken care of, even if you have to go up and down on certain suites of add-ons.
No, absolutely. It's we're starting with, we're starting with a Porsche, right?
I thought they're my Cadillac.
Well, Cadillac is for the communications to the outside world, but in-house, all right, now let's say Cadillac, right? Yeah. I mean, and even then, I don't think the automotive analogy fits, right? Because we're keeping it very, very simple. Right. And then the other stuff, it's like icing on a beautiful cake.
Exactly. All right, cool. So I have a lot to get started on just from a packaging and content perspective.
Okay.
So, offline we'll have that discussion, but I hope this conversation helped you to get clarity on how we're going to be offering services for you.
No, this is great. I mean, this is, I didn't know what to expect.
Well, it's an office hour. It's open. It's open for anybody to ask any of the questions, and you're it. So you're here. So
Yeah. So is it, I mean, I see these other boxes. Are these your CyberSells team?
no, the only person on CyberSells looks like Nick is here, and then we've got Stephen, who's a part of the program. Stacy's going through the program right now. We've got a couple of other people that went on, went off, and asked questions on the side of the platform. I do have a question about the platform. Have you gotten on it and asked any questions and introduced yourself on it?
I did, and I bookmarked it, but I'm not going in regularly.
Okay. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that everybody has access and they're using it, because that's where if for whatever reason, so for example, Angela asked a question yesterday. Nick was running the office hour, and it was all about preferred way of emailing things out without getting spammed. So that is we have a variety of tools and strategies to do that. So I can address it either on the platform or on the office hours. So that was one of the things that we wanted to address. So all right, so then
Yeah.
I'll make sure that that goes on the platform and I share that out with everybody, and then we'll also start putting the recordings, not only get emailed to you, but you'll have those on the platform too.
Yeah, because it looks like the platform, it really doesn't have much going on in it.
Not right now. Yeah, it's just because it's beta. So we're just now getting people in there. It's basically supposed to be like a Slack conversation. But the one thing I don't like about it is that there's no notifications. So it's like you have to be logged in to see anything. So that, to me, I don't like that. But we'll sort that out. That's why we're testing it out.
What was that?
That's why we're testing it out.
Yeah, I mean, what about doing Slack? Is it just too expensive?
It's not as secure when we have people from external companies and organizations inside our internal Slack, and it gets really noisy. So we don't want to do that because notifications go everywhere. We could potentially do Discord, and Discord may be the way to go, because we've seen a couple of courses and peer groups and things like that work off of Discord, and it works fine. So
Right.
that might be the one. If this one doesn't get cleaned up. So we're working with Q&A, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, this one's I mean,
it's light. It's light on features for sure.
It's light. I do have it bookmarked, so that means that now I'm not wondering where to go to get there.
Right. Yeah.
But it feels like it's just kind of
sitting there
over here, right? It's like,
yeah. Okay. All right. That's good feedback. We'll work off of something. I'll see if I can either increase the motion on that app or that platform, or we'll switch over to Discord or something.
cool.
All right. Thanks for testing it. All right, sir. I will see you soon. Will you be on forecast tomorrow?
I think so.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.